Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Capricorn in August 2021. What's going on, Capricorn? How are you guys doing? I hope you all are doing well. Capricorn, wherever you guys are in the world, hope you're safe, happy, healthy, and secure. Take good care of yourselves and those that you know and love at this time, and at all times, of course. Capricorn, apologies for the lateness of this video. Your girl got sick. At the beginning of August, 5 days I was out of commission, did not feel well at all. 5.5 days technically. Anyway, so that explains why these messages are coming out a little bit closer to the middle of the month, but truly all of these messages, they could resonate with you at any time. It's just, you know, the timing is the label that I'm stamping on them for when I've recorded them. So what you see here today might not resonate with you until years in the future, or maybe years ago in your past. Three of Wands popping out here just before we get started. So some of you might have some expectations, might have some plans in the works, trying to get some initial results on something you might be testing, or something that you might be, I'm getting for some of you that you might want to purchase something, but you're not window shopping, but you're compare, god damn, I can't talk. Compare pricing. There you go. So you might, you know, have, you know, 2 or 3 people or retail businesses that you're, you know, looking to make a purchase with, but you want to make sure before you actually make the move. That's what that felt like. Anyway, guys, no other announcements. Anything you want, it is in the description box below. Let's get into your reading. Ace of Cups here to begin. Emperor, Major Arcana for Aries, and Star, Aquarius. You could be dealing with those signs, but you don't have to be. And this was kind of a channeled message, and now that I look down here, because I feel the thing, and then I get into displaying the cards, and then I cut the camera on as quickly as I can after the cards are laid down. But one of the things I got before any of these cards were on the deck, as I was meditating in your energy, Capricorn, that I don't know her name. It's terrible. I watched the show one time through. It was a good show, but you know, I don't need to go back and rewatch it. Bridgerton on Netflix, right? So for those of you who have seen it, it's the one sister who's really insolent, the sister who does not want to be debuting, right? She kept popping up, that actress, well, the character. I don't recognize the actress from much else, if anything at all. So that might mean something to you, but because that energy is kind of here, like this. That's not what the Emperor is doing, but the posture that is illustrated on this card is almost as if someone is insolent, as if they're moping, or as if they're pensive and, you know, frustrated, and they're not happy with what they're experiencing, or they're dismayed at the world around them, or they're in such a place that, and that was kind of like her frustration. I wish I remembered the name of the character, and I could pick up my phone and look at it, but I don't want to waste time doing that. But that sister, she was always talking about, you know, all the limitations that women in that society had placed on them, because I think in the show she wants to be a writer or something like that, or she wants to go to university or something like that, and it's just like not the thing to do. Yes, so that's what I'm feeling in this collective energy between these 3 cards. There is a world, a society, a structure, a family dynamic, a business dynamic, a dynamic between 2 people where things are going a certain way, or there is a certain expectation that things go this way, not that way, and that displeases somebody. It bores them, they lament it, they are frustrated by it, they're angered by it, they're saddened by it, whatever. The Emperor in this particular instance, energetically, is not a happy camper, right? Emperor usually is content. Emperor usually is an energy or a card in the tarot that speaks that to a person that has purpose in their place, meaning wherever they are, they understand their role, they understand their power, and they work it all to their advantage. If not, they created it for their liking to begin with. But I see here that someone is coming into a pre-made world a pre-made circumstance or situation or relationship that has parameters set in place already. This person didn't have anything to do with the rules, with the regulations, with the protocol that was written, with the protocol that's followed. They are meant to show up and fall in line. And maybe that's why this emperor is showing up, because like I said before, an emperor innately is a self-made energy, doesn't put themselves or doesn't want to see themselves, does not tend to see themselves in a situation that doesn't benefit them, doesn't make them happy, doesn't enrich them in some type of way. Yet I feel there's a person here that has found themselves in a situation that no longer suits them, or had never suited them to begin with, but because of status, because of hierarchy, because of promotions, if this was a job thing, because of, favoritism, if this was like a nepotism thing in the workplace, or favorability in some other type of way, they are now granted access to something that they don't really want. So again, similar to the girl, the sister in Bridgerton, who's, again, I could look the character up, but I'm not going to do it. The sister who, has the benefits of being from a rich family, has the benefit of having a sister who's going to debut before her, therefore giving her a leg up in this privileged society, and she doesn't want it. Does that make sense? Okay. If that makes sense to you, if you can piece that together to your life, a Netflix show and all this stuff, go to town. I mean, that's often how I channel messages anyway, through television and music and movies. But what I'm seeing here is a person who would rather be here in the much less structured, much freer, much more self-reflective energy of the star. I feel the star has a certain set of freedom that the emperor does not have. And it could come down to responsibility. The emperor in tarot and in this situation might be a leader, but they don't want to be a leader. Right? Might be a person that people look up to, but they don't feel they deserve it or want that responsibility. I think it's more of a doesn't want the responsibility. The star is really, especially the Aquarian influence or connection, I should say, is really a citizen of the world or a citizen of the universe, but really only responsible for themselves. Even though there's connectivity that Aquarius cares about and the star would care about, ultimately everything that Aquarius does, or at least it has to sit right with them first. So a charitable deed from an Aquarius doesn't come from a hollow place. It doesn't come from a place of ingenuineness or disingenuineness, right? If Aquarius does a good act, it's because Aquarius means it. There's heart behind it. There is care behind it. It's not frivolous. Whereas when you're in a position of power, like the emperor, sometimes you have to shake hands, smile for the camera, go talk to people, engage with people that you'd rather never speak to for the rest of your life, let alone, every day of your life. Do you understand? The star would never connect or take on a role like that, because it would be a disservice to the self. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So that's kind of what the sister, at least when I was watching that show, was kind of getting at. And she's not the main character, but I was reading a lot into her character, in that if I debut, and I'm sure they'll change it if they do a story with her, but in that first season of Bridgerton, I was reading her character that, if I go forward and I go out and I debut and a man comes and asks to marry me and I agree, it's all going to be a lie. I don't want to be married, period. But because this is what my family expects of me, society expects of me, this is the thing that I'm supposed to do. So it's like stepping into a role, emperor, where really you don't want it. Now, transferring back to tarot, pulling away from Bridgerton, you literally could have someone who stepped into the role of being a boss, stepped into the role of being a father or a parent in general. Doesn't have to be a male, but stepping into some position of authority and leadership that they don't want. It maybe was thrust upon them. Maybe, again, this is the natural order of things. as the next, in line for this position. Now that so-and-so retired or so-and-so left the company, now it's up to you to step into these shoes. And you're just like, I was much happier being second string here. I don't want to be star quarterback. Put me out, coach. Don't put me in, put me out. You understand? I think this could be a matter of, I don't want to say self-esteem, although the star being here, it can be about self-worth, self-esteem, the way we perceive ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves in relation to others, in relation to the world around us. So this could be someone who knows they're not qualified for something, yet because of how hierarchies work, they are put into a position, even though they're not qualified. Okay? Ace of Cups, I think, that's the emotional truth of the situation. What I've been channeling here for the past 10 minutes or so, I think that's kind of the root of the situation, or the undercurrent, let's say it that way. If not the truth, the undercurrent of the situation is that someone is performative in their duties. They'll do it to get the job done. They'll do it and say it and be there and show up because that's what's expected of them. But are they truly connecting with their job, with their role, with the things and the people that they're engaging with? No, not at all. This is a person who possibly is having moral qualms about what they're engaging in, because maybe where the role or the job or the duties that they're performing is meant to be kind of sterile, is meant to be kind of without much emotional depth, right? Without much emotional ties, yet this person might be a bleeding heart. So they would struggle with that. If they, had to be a disciplinarian, it might not come naturally to this person. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's expand on this. I don't need to clarify anything. If that made sense to you, that's great. If it didn't, that's all right too. The message simply would be for the Capricorn sitting across from you or next door to you or wherever, okay? So let's see what else is going on here for Capricorn. What else is going on in the situation? 1 second. Okay. Felt a tickle rising up in my throat, and I didn't want to deal with that. All right, so what else is happening in the situation for Capricorn? Show me more, please. In the situation for Capricorn, what else is happening here? Give me more insight for Capricorn, please. Okay, something. Ooh, 2 somethings. I kind of threw it like that, so I think we'll go with that. Is that right? Yeah, they say that's fine. All right, no bottom of the deck. We'll have an oracle card at the end in a moment. So Magician, Moon reverse, and then 7 of Swords. Magician, Gemini, Virgo, Moon, Pisces. Could be dealing, don't have to be. Yeah, so look at how the Moon came in reverse right underneath the Emperor. And then the word that's on top of 7 of Swords is futility. So something is futile. Something is without any recourse. Yes? I think that's sort of, affirming again that we have a person who has some emotional depth, emotional truth that is unexpressed. It's not well known, if known at all. Might not even be recognized or acknowledged to the self. Someone could be, with the Moon in reverse there, in denial. So you could have somebody who is not qualified for whatever they're meant to do, whoever they're meant to be, whatever they're meant to be in the Emperor, but they don't recognize fully that they're incapable, or that the source of their unhappiness is this mismatched job, this mismatched duty, this mismatched role that they have to portray or that they have to perform, right? They just think, oh, I got a case of the Mondays every Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They just don't know where their misery is coming from. Or they do, but they don't know, like I said, how to express it. This moon plus the star, deep waters, or what is that? Still waters run deep. So this person, again, on their own, might be suffering in silence, so to speak. Might not want other people to worry about them. That could be a qualification, or excuse me, a quality of the emperor that rings true. Not really seeking assistance from others, not being open to people being critical of them or being concerned over them, right? I don't want to say the person is stubborn, because I don't think it's a matter of being stubborn. I do get, mostly it's this feeling of I have to do, I don't have choices. This is what is expected of a person like me. The person before me who did this job, they didn't have complaints. They just, got on with it. They weren't wrapped up in whatever. So it's like not wanting to be odd man or odd woman out. Not wanting to be the person who in some ways breaks tradition. Throughout our family, it was always this person who steps up and takes care of the farm, or this person who takes care of the shop. It's this person who, maybe it doesn't even have to be a specific role. It could just be others who have been like me. So maybe it's this for the first time. This is the first, and it doesn't have to be a male. So let's use females, right? So this could be a mom, a first-time mom who is struggling with postpartum, is struggling with CPTSD, right? Complex post-traumatic stress disorder or whatever, right? And no woman in your family before has ever complained about being a mother or felt like they weren't naturally a mother. That's something. As a female, I definitely had, possibly still do, a maternal clock, but she's not functioning the way she used to, because I just think about what it means to be a parent, and to some degree I would like to be a mom, I would like to be a parent, but I also think maybe I wouldn't be natural at it. Maybe I wouldn't be as good at it as I think I would be. And here's somebody who maybe is living the reality. Now that they have a child, or now that they're responsible for something, now that they're in a particular field, I went to school for this, I'm specialized in this, but now that I'm out in the field 2-3 years, I'm realizing this isn't a good fit for me. That's quite a dissonance to have when you've signed up for something or been thrust into something, and you are expected to take up the mantle and carry traditions, and then you see or feel completely out of touch, or completely out of your element, I should say. Okay? Now, the Magician and Seven of Swords. I think the Magician is a spiritual cry for help. I mean, the figure on the card is doing the traditional as above, so below gesture, right? He's pointing to the sky. His feet are planted on the ground. So there is sort of like this connectivity, or this signaling of a connectivity to, the unknown, the spirit, the universe, God, whatever you believe in or don't believe in. But I don't think that whoever the main character in this story is, Capricorn, could be you, could be someone else. I don't think that they necessarily feel natural as a conduit, or as a communicator, a connector with the divine. I don't think that it's something they believe works in their favor or works at all. This is somebody who could tap into it. These corners are speaking, they're letting me know. So this is a person who has natural divinity. Every person on earth has it, by the way. But some of us will never believe ourselves capable, and or never attempt to reach a frequency in which we can work with the universe. That's just the way it is. So you might be, or someone you're dealing with might be one of these people who have doubts, not only in their physical capabilities, what they're capable of doing in their 3D life, but doubts of what they can do in their spiritual life. That could be, these corners also speak, a self-deception, Seven of Swords. Denying the eternal or abundant sense of love and connectivity that you have with your spirit guides, that you have with God, that you have with the universe. If you do not want this role, or you feel incapable, it's not to say that you're a failure. It's just to say that this is not the path for you. This is not the path for you. And there's a sense of failure in walking away from or admitting this path is not for me. This is an internal struggle for most of you. This is little to do with anybody else other than yourself or a particular person of significance in your life. This is what they're going through, okay? Let's get an oracle card and then we're going to wrap up. Oracle message here for Capricorn in this situation, please. What is the oracle message for Capricorn in this situation? Oracle message for Capricorn in this situation. I don't want to say like this is a matter of faith, but they do want me to express that. For some, this is a challenge of faith, a test of faith, whatever that means to you, however that strikes your ear. You know, interpret that in any way you need to. But that's what a part of this is. A good chunk of this is about, you know, a test of faith. Oracle for Capricorn in the situation, please. Thank you. Dearest you, there is only one you, and you have a unique path and a special purpose. You're supposed to have specific experiences in this world and meet certain people. But then it is up to you how you live, how awake you choose to be, and how willing you are to grow and strip away what's false. Don't compare yourself to others. Emperor, Star, Magician. It's easy to think a person is happier just because their outside looks good according to society's standards. That chick from Bridgerton. But you can't know anyone's internal experience. Compare yourself only to your past self. See how far things have come? Don't be distracted by what others are doing or accomplishing. Stay focused on what inspires you. Star, Ace of Cups, Magician. That's how you get successful and find happiness. Want what you have now, not what someone else has. We love you immensely and know your journey ahead is sparkling with miracles and wondrous things. Trust. What did I just say? Keep the faith. This is about faith, having faith. And then the last word here is trust. Same difference. I'm going to hold that up to the camera. You can pause it and read it for yourself if you'd like. To me, that all makes sense. It might not make sense to you, Capricorn, or the person that this is about, because I did say there is this feeling of struggling to connect with a higher self, struggling to connect with higher guides, God, universe, whatever you perceive exists outside of Earth. Yes? I'm not here to tell a person strictly how to believe and what to do and how to go about it, but to me, this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Capricorn, that's the reading for August. If you like this reading, hit the like button. If it resonates, leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed before and you think you might want to come back and see more, hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate any and all of that stuff. If you want to get at me for a personal, you can find out how to do so looking in the description box below, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye.